Right, I'm going to show you how to sew a cloth diaper. This is one that I've picked up at the local shops. I found the easiest way to try and do this is make up my own pattern from one that's already existing. It's a fitted diaper. It's got velcro all the way across the top here. So as your child grows, you just move the loop tab out farther and farther to accommodate the growing waistline. It also has elastic in the edges of the legs here and also the back, so if your child has a wet movement, it won't move up the back of the child. It also has the soaker pad inside the diaper, and this isn't one of the pocket ones where you open up the back and you pull out the soaker pad when it's wet. You actually leave it in and you just hang it on your line. And it's also got these nifty tabs in the back here, which I found really interesting. When you put it in for the wash, you just close these over so that different bits of lint and such doesn't get caught in your hooks, because that makes it ineffective. Some things that you'll need to be making your diaper is, of course, whatever diaper you're copying, whether it be this style or something else. You're going to need some elastic, some Velcro, a pen and a ruler. You're going to need your pattern, which you'll trace out on paper. You'll need pins and scissors, and of course your material, which I have chosen flannel, and your sewing machine. Alright, so I'm going to trace this. I'm using, as you can see, some Christmas paper because it's the only paper I have in the house that's bigger than the A4 size. So what I'm going to do is lay my diaper down, and I'm just going to trace around it. And when I get to the elastic bit, I'm going to have my helpful husband pull it tight so that I can just trace it around. As you can see, I've cut out my pattern on my paper here. I've made all my notations where the Velcro and the soaker pad are situated, as well as the elastic along the side and the top there. I've also added a centimeter seam allowance on either side, and I've done the same with my soaker pad. I've also noted how many of whatever it is that I'm cutting. The next thing you're going to do is cut out your pattern pieces. Now I'm using flannel here. I've got this bit folded up with the right sides together, so when I cut it out, I'm cutting on the wrong side. Now I've got my pattern piece here, which is actually symmetrical. The side and the side is symmetrical. So instead of doing a cut all the way around like that, I'm going to put the fold of my pattern piece on the fold of the fabric. Then I only have to make a cut like that, and I've got an identical piece when you open it up. There we go. So we have our two pieces, your inside and your outside of your diaper. This is the half, and you can just open them up, and that's the right side of your material in there. Now all you have to do is cut out your soaker pads. Now you've got your piece cut out, put your original pattern on top of it and transfer the markings of where the elastics are going to be and where your soaker pad's going to be. So you can see here, I've got my soaker pad, I've sewed it on. This is 5 pieces of the flannel, since it's rather thin. I've put it onto the wrong side of the fabric. So this is the right side of the fabric. So this is the part that's actually going to be against the baby, like that. What you're going to do is you're going to cut a piece of elastic which is considerably shorter than the actual area we'll be sewing it to. So for example, my elastic is 9 centimeters, and the area I'm sewing it to is from this notch to this notch, which is actually 12.5. So the way we're going to accomplish that is we'll take the unstretched elastic, we'll pin it there, and as we sew, we'll pull it tight so that when it's in a relaxed state, it looks like that. Alright, so I'm going to take my elastic and I'm going to match it up to my first notch here. I'm going to put it under my presser foot, and I'm going to be doing a straight stitch. So we go forward a few, and we'll go back a couple stitches just to anchor it on, and forward again. And now what we'll actually do is we'll pull the elastic tight as we sew, so that when it relaxes, it'll give us a nice, lovely pucker. Okay, so this is what my diaper looks like so far, with the front and the back, the 2 layers pinned together here with the right sides together. What I've also done is I've pinned the top of my elastic here, but I haven't pinned it down. The reason for that is as we sew our straight stitch, we'll actually be pulling it tight to create gathering along the leg. And if I was to pin it down, it would be very difficult to sew, whereas it's easier if you just pull your elastic as you go. The other thing to note is I've started my elastic at this side because I'll actually be going this way with my machine. And then I'll be coming around here and along the bottom and up this way. So again, I've pinned it at the bottom because I'm going to be pulling it as I sew and then going up towards the top. Right, so after you've sewed it, this is what your diaper should look like. You'll see there's ruffling along where the elastic is on either side, and you've got your top edge open. So now what we're going to do is we're actually going to put our hand through the inside of the entire diaper and pull it out. Inside out. One thing I can't stress enough is making sure your corners are turned out properly, because if they're bunched up in there and you haven't actually turned them out, then you will have no tab in order for your Velcro to fit on. So what you want to do is you want to use, I'm using a crochet hook, simple like that, just sliding the bottom in there and pushing it through. So you can see my little tab. Okay, so I've got my top edge all pinned here. It's all folded in. What I want to do is, instead of having a centimeter or so seam allowance, I want to do it at the very edge. So what I'm going to do is take my needle on my machine here, and I'm going to adjust the setting so that it brings it from one side over to the complete opposite. So just make it across like that. Then when I'm sewing along, like that, I can do it at the very edge of my material. The next step is to add your Velcro or other snap enclosure. So I've cut my first piece of Velcro. This is the front outside of the diaper. And as you can see, I've pinned it extremely close to the top edge. So we're going to sew that on in a square on every side of the Velcro to reinforce it. Now this is what your back Velcro is going to look like. Mine's plastic, it's fairly thick, so I'm not sure whether or not I'm going to be able to pin it. I doubt it, but what you do is you just cut one size here and cut the other size, same size in your loops, and you just do a straight stitch. I think I'll probably go across at the top, then come down, then just make a big square like that.